Welcome to our first episode of Health, Wellbeing and Lifestyle. We invite professionals in their fields to inspire and educate our viewers to feel healthier, more balanced and able to achieve a lifestyle they love. For our first guest today, we have Mark Corazzo, a business consultant and coach, and he's here today to talk to us about positive psychology. Mark, how important is positive psychology in lifestyle change?
It's critical, Linda, I think. It's very important in order to get change that the person has confidence that they can achieve it. So in addition to, of course, believing in the importance of change. And the way that we like to do that is set small, achievable goals, nothing too much too soon, because success ends up fueling more motivation and better performance down the track. We also like to make sure that people are using positive language, and we're very perceptive to make sure that there's no negative descriptions or negative words occurring. We also, I think, like to celebrate successes, and there's a lot of literature out there talking about the importance of praise and recognition. In the business field, there's some studies out there saying that an encouraging leader has a team with 31% more productivity than others, and we also know, curiously, that praise, properly directed, can be more motivating than money.
Right. And so so when you talk about negative languaging, words, descriptions,
yes.
What can be done about that?
Well, a lot of the times the negativity, it comes from the individual themselves, the way they talk about themselves. People these days have very high expectations. You'll find that people have got a lot on, they're doing an enormous amount with their family, with their work, and you can sometimes hear them talk about the fact that I should be doing better, I'm not doing enough. Now what we like to do is reframe that, talk about the wonderful job they're doing already, and then talk about steps that we can apply in order to create more time for them perhaps to do the things that they'd love to do, whether it be the gym or yoga or a meditation class. Sometimes if you're receptive, you'll also hear them say things like overgeneralisations, like if I don't finish that 3-kilometre run by a certain time, it'll prove that, again, that I'm a failure, which is obviously not correct. It just means that they haven't done it this time. Another example might be black and white thinking. You often hear people say, for instance, I'm no good at yoga, but the truth is they're normal at yoga. The fact is that they haven't had any practice at stretching yet. So it's those sorts of thinking, I think, that any business coach or lifestyle coach needs to pick up on and correct.
So easy for us to get down on ourselves, isn't it?
Very much so. And most of us are achieving a lot.
Yes, that's very true. And, you know, when you talk about that, and how does we hear about positive mindset. We have lots of people, you know, inquiring about that. How does that play out?
Positive mindset and optimism is enormously important if you read the research. Our brain tends to anticipate things that is going to occur, and that sometimes brings out a certain form of behaviour which is conducive to positive lifestyle change. Now, there's some very good body of research on that. One that I particularly like occurred by a psychologist called Ellen Langer in 1979, and she took a group of 75-year-old men away for a retreat. She said, I want you to behave the way you did in 1959. In other words, as if you were 55. Dress like you're 55, act like you're 55, talk like you're 55. And she then tried to map out what occurred after that retreat. Now, remarkably, she found out after that retreat that they had better posture, improved flexibility, their eyesight had improved by 10%, and interestingly, random people that had not known these people were asked to try and predict their age before the retreat and after the retreat. And on average, they said that they were younger by an average of 3 years after the retreat. So that's fairly strong research. And there has been another bit of research about mindset where the psychologists, one of which was Langer again, took a group of hotel maids, I think it was in America, and told one half of them that what you do for your work is very good exercise and very good for your health. and the other half received no such good news. Now, they found several weeks after this good news was imparted to the first group that they actually had lost weight and they had lower cholesterol.
So how important are emotions, would you say, in wellbeing and lifestyle change?
Well, according to the experts that have really studied this field, very important. One particular academic and psychologist who I respect, Martin Seligman, has dictated that positive emotions are one of the 5 important pillars towards well-being. And what he's perhaps suggesting there is things like awe, joy, serenity, hope, and love, and many others are very important to us in being able to have a balanced and flourishing life. So what I think is, or should be, the intent of everybody is to make sure that each day they try and incorporate something in their life that gives them those moments, and certainly more of those moments of positive emotion than negative emotion, because I suppose it's fairly obvious that if all you're dealing with every day is negative emotions, then that's going to be a bit of a drag and a downer for you.
Oh, right. So I suppose you could say, like, you know, you walk down the street and if you smile at somebody, they'll be taken aback, but then they might smile back.
Well, you're touching on a very interesting area there, which is called the contagion effect, and which basically means people's moods really translate into other people. So if you give a smile to somebody else, it's very likely that you're going to spread that bit of happiness with someone else, and yes, you'll get a smile back and make, in the long run, the world a happier place.
Oh, well, that's a wonderful thing for our viewers to know, isn't it?
It
Just
really
to
is.
maybe go out there and smile at others, would
Yes,
you say?
it is, and they also talk about the importance of an act of kindness is very important in spreading goodness and making both the person who receives it and the person who gives it feel better.
Apart from those benefits, what other benefits would you say positive psychology bring to a person? What would those benefits be?
Apart from assisting in lifestyle change, I think positive psychology brings its own rewards. There's very good body of evidence from reputable researchers and psychologists that happier people have better relationships, they are more engaged, they are more productive, they have a stronger immune system, and they even live a longer and healthier life. So happiness is in a sense its own reward, and it's also can have an upward spiral effect. If I'm happier and things start to work well for me, I become even happier, and I go on a spiral of upward happiness. So yeah, it's a very powerful force, and they say that it is Sean Aker, a very well respected academic in America, has written the book, and he believes that happiness comes before success and not the other way around, which a lot of us have been taught.
Oh. Well, that's wonderful. Thank you, Mark, for sharing all of that today.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
And for more information about Mark and lifestyle change, then please go to our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. And we'll go to break now. And after the break, we'll be back with Vicky Jamieson, here to talk to us about tips for looking younger. And next we have Vicky Jamieson, who's here today to talk to us about her top tips for staying younger. She's a skin nutritionist, so she's expert in her field. Welcome, Vicky.
Thank you.
So what would be your top 5 tips?
Well, it's really simple, and it starts off with looking at what really ages our skin prematurely. So the 3 things that age us prematurely are sun, pollution, and also stress. So my 5 tips that everyone can do, and they're all really simple. So the first one is, of course, to protect against the sun, which is using an SPF every single day. And one of the key things I get asked a lot is to what number should I have? So SPF 15 is the best because it has the less chemicals and toxins in it, so it's better for your skin and better for your body. So a 15, and then to reapply is actually a best idea. The second tip is cleansing your skin every night. Well, in fact, we all have pollution on our skin, and if you think about how much is around Melbourne. You can see it in the sky. So that will break down. Your skin absorbs at night whatever's on your skin. So we want to wash that away before we go to sleep. The third thing is actually breathing. I'm talking about abdominal breathing or meditation or that kind of diaphragmic breathing where you're breathing from your tummy. So we're actually expanding the lower part of our diaphragm, and that actually does this really amazing thing in our body. It triggers to the nervous system to relax. So it gives the nervous system a really good break from our busy life and always being switched on, which would normally break down our skin. So when we're on, we release cortisol, and when we're just busy, that's what breaks down our skin. So it breaks down connective tissue all over our body, but particularly our collagen. So if we don't do anything about that, we will get saggier skin and you'll see deeper lines. So that's kind of a key, and it's really easy to do. Now, if you can't sit still, start with 2 minutes a day and build up to 5 minutes and then 10 to 15 minutes. 15 minutes is ideal every single day. And then the fourth thing is actually using some skincare. So I go for non-toxic skincare that's plant-based, but also very science-based. So what I mean by that is using plant-based ingredients, which are really healthy for our skin and help feed it like food, but can also process to the lower level where our skin's being made. So once it gets down there, that's how we can start our skin keeping nice and healthy and vibrant and young and making the right kind of cells. So things to look for are no parabens, because those are the toxins, no chemicals. It takes 26 seconds for your skin to absorb chemicals into your bloodstream. So we're also having a health effect, which then may come out on our skin. So think of pimples, eczema, that type of thing. Could be a good indication that you've got too many chemicals in your products. And then looking for something that will work every single day. So keeping it simple. And the last tip, my number 5, is nutrition and hydration. So those seem like really obvious, but they directly impact our skin. So our skin reflects whatever we are putting in our body just as much as what we're putting on our skin. So obviously a high plant-based diet, but also making sure, and this is particularly important for women over 40, or as our hormones change and we come into perimenopause and menopause, we actually start eating away our muscle tissue, and that's also our collagen in our face and everywhere in our body. So to stop that sagging, we need to get enough protein, and then we also need to have enough nutrients going into our body. So while we say whole foods, you also nowadays need supplementation, but a good supplement. The water is very important because it helps move everything around. So the function of our skin is actually to get rid of toxins and to heat regulate. So the water content actually keeps your skin hydrated, moist, so you get that great glow. That will keep you looking a lot younger. And then it also obviously you are feeling better because you can get things moving around in your body.
Wonderful. For more information on Vicky and skin nutrition, please go to our website. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back. And now we have with us Tracy Jardim, who's a raw food advocate. And she's here today to talk to us about raw food and gluten. Welcome, Tracy.
Thanks, Linda. First of all, I'd like to talk about what raw food actually is. So raw food is food that has not been refined, chemically processed, canned, or heated to over 48 degrees Celsius. So the reason why I wanted to talk about gluten and raw food is because gluten is such a big issue for a lot of people nowadays. Celiac Australia tell us that there's approximately 1 in 70 people in Australia who actually have celiac disease. And this is a really high number. But another concern is that they say the majority of the people who have celiac disease actually aren't aware of it. And further on that, 1 in 14 people actually are saying that they have a gluten intolerance.
So what is exactly celiac disease? Is that a complete intolerance? What is that?
So yes, celiac disease is basically an allergy, a complete allergy to anything that contains gluten.
Ah.
And if it's consumed by someone who has celiac disease, it causes inflammation and damage to the stomach. So, and it can't be reversed. The only way that it can be treated is with a gluten-free diet. So it's actually incurable. So raw food is actually either low in gluten or completely gluten-free. And that's why it's important to include some raw food in our diets, especially for people who have an issue with gluten content. The other thing to remember is that when we're going out and looking for foods that are labelled gluten-free, do check the labels, turn it around and have a look, because it may say may contain traces of gluten, and that's really important for people who have celiac disease, because any trace of gluten can actually be life-threatening.
We see a lot of gluten-free products in the shop, or that are labelled gluten-free products. Are they all actually good for us?
No, actually, they're not all good for us, because a lot of the gluten-free products, like bread, for example, contain a lot of refined sugars. That's something we're going to be talking about next week. So it's important to make sure that we include raw food in our diet, especially when we've got a gluten intolerance.
Oh, that's great. And for some more top tips for our viewers, what would you say is your absolute top tip for our viewers?
I would say that if gluten is an issue for you, make sure that you're including lots of leafy greens and vegetables and fruits, and seeds and grains that don't include gluten, like oats, barley, rye and wheat.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you. And now we'll go to break. For more information on Tracy and about gluten in your foods, then please go to our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. After the break, we'll come back with Nancy Beckor, who's with us today to talk about meditation. Welcome back, and next we have Nancy Beckor, who's a light therapy attendant and researcher, and today she's talking about meditation. Welcome, Nancy.
Hello.
Why meditate?
You know, there are a lot of people are aware about meditating, and I'm going to give some known reasons, but I'm also going to give some not known reasons. So first of all, meditation is a great antidote to stress. That the stress we're talking about is not so much like working too hard physically. The big problem is the mental stress, where you're imagining problems, you're solving problems, you're thinking about your problem, and this actually stresses the body. What we do in meditation is, first of all, we are easing the body, because the moment you stop the mind working, the body can relax. Now, there's another reason, which is that we get to connect to our inner knowing. This inner knowing knows everything you want, everything you need. It can solve your problems like nobody else could. How long do you have to spend with someone for them to even understand where you come from? But the great guru is here. So the different perspectives that you can reach in meditation, because you're no longer thinking, but they're more coming up from gut knowing or heart wisdom, gives you a chance to experience your life completely differently. So we're focusing on the body, but we're doing it with a feeling, emotional experience. Meditation is not a thinking experience. Now, I refer to mindfulness. Mindfulness is totally valid. It is where you learn about your life patterns and perhaps improve your relationships, but it is a thinking process. The great gateway of meditation is the feeling, because as we increase our ability to feel the subtle energy flows in the body, we begin to learn to hear the inner self speak to us. Why are some people so lucky? Why do some people know just what to do? More than likely they have a meditation practice, but it may not be. It could be that they're sports people who've learned to calm themselves down. Everybody knows that meditation is not that easy, but there's an advanced aspect of meditation, which if you have not learned to relax, you don't even get there. And I'm going to talk about more of that in the next segment when we talk about mind expansion.
Oh, great. Yes.
But the value of simply learning to quiet the mind helps you throughout the day.
And Nancy, how would you recommend to our viewers to meditate?
Thanks for that question. So what we do, it's not so much about not thinking, don't think about the elephant in the room, you will. It's about beginning to feel your body and focusing on your breath and becoming aware only of your body, because you're going to learn some things from your body. If it's ill health, you'll learn that. But if you are being guided by your inner voice, you will know it as an alert that comes through the body. So meditation is helping you to have ears that are not connected to your thinker. Okay, so it's not easy, right? And we're talking about profoundly meditating. There's new technology created with light. It's found that when you have a session, you have your eyes shut and you see beautiful colours and patterns. And what happens to everybody is their mind disappears. As a Tibetan monk said, he said, it's a shortcut. Yes, today there is a shortcut in light technology.
And for more information on meditation and light therapy, please go to our website healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. And we'll say bye-bye for now and see you next week. Thank you.